Hi, I'm going to give a quick tour of some features we've added to Volunteers for Salesforce, which aid in the scheduling of shifts for a specific job. Volunteers for Salesforce has the notion of campaign members, which enable you to associate a list of volunteers, and in our case we use this to indicate some volunteers that are suited for and interested in a particular activity, in this case work readiness training for our clients. However, we have a number of jobs related to work readiness training. For example, in the summer season we have a regular work readiness training and a set of interview prep sessions. And we need to be able to communicate with the volunteers specifically involved in those efforts. So we've created this notion of a job volunteer, and a job volunteer can be selected and added to shifts automatically, sent scheduling emails, and there's the ability to add them to pre-existing shifts also. So I've added Sally. Right now I have no shifts for this job. Let's create an event, maybe a class that's going to happen on the 7th of August at 1 p.m. and it's going to last for 2 hours. Now if I look at the shift, I can see that Sally already has an entry against this shift. Right now there's no status as to her attendance. Before I start to interact with Sally for scheduling purposes, I need to publish my changes. At this point I can send an invitation to Sally. And if I look at the details of Sally's hours record, I can see in the top right this confirmation status. And this is really a record of my communications with Sally. You can see at this point I've made a request. Her status is invited, and she hasn't had a chance to make any comments. Now if I go and look at Sally's inbox, Sally has an email asking her if she's available for that YJC event. Tells her about the details of the event, and it asks her to fill out a form indicating her availability. Again, the details are pre-filled. All she needs to do is say confirmed, perhaps she's unavailable, and let us know if she wants to. Something about why she's unavailable. The volunteer manager can then see in Volunteers for Salesforce, if I refresh the record here, he can see that Sally is unavailable. In real time, he gets an email saying that Sally has cancelled. What to do? He needs another volunteer. We go back to the job and we look at the volunteers. We're going to find a new volunteer. Let's choose Larry. We want to add Larry to existing scheduled shifts. Now if I go back to that shift, there's an entry for Larry. To invite Larry, I click on Publish Changes again, send him an invitation, and if I look at Larry's inbox again, this could take a while, usually a couple of seconds. In a moment Larry will have his own invitation. As volunteers step through the process of responding to invitations, there are a number of stages. Initially they're invited. When they respond to the invitation, they can be expected. Here's Larry's email. Larry's going to tell us he's available. He's very happy about it. So now, if the volunteer manager revisits the hours tab, Larry is now expected. Again, if I look at Larry's hours record, I can see the comment he made. But what if I actually need a lot of volunteers? It would be tedious to add them one by one. If I go back to the job and I need to add to this list, I can add all my campaign members. And perhaps I want to add them to pre-existing shifts and new shifts automatically. Now if I go back to my shift, I have a lot of volunteers involved in the shift. I don't need to invite all the volunteers right away. I can incrementally include them as I get responses from some of them. To do that, if I want to invite, for example, Jackie, I change her status to invited. And I'm going to invite Hans also. I change his status to invited. Now when I publish my changes, I have a few options. I can send invitations to those volunteers identified as invited. Optionally, I can invite everyone involved in the job, and I can also send updates if I change some details.